Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video. I am at a cycling show in Germany called Spezi, a cycling show dedicated to all sorts of unique cycles. That's like bikes, but also trikes and quads, four-wheel, like three-wheel, and cargo trikes, cargo bikes, recumbents, all sorts of different things. And I'm walking around the show and I'm experiencing a bunch of like European isms. There's a whole bunch of things happening in America with regards to the Trump administration and with regards to these tariffs in particular that is having ripple effects beyond maybe what people might think. I've been traveling to Europe and Asia for the past 2 decades. There was always an underlying pride I had at being American. Different countries maybe less, maybe different countries more. But there was always like, oh, you're American. Oh yeah, America. I love America. America, America, America. Even in hard times, even there was some political craziness, it'd be kind of a chuckle or a side laugh, but there would also be like, America's pretty cool. Well, I've been here for a few days and I can tell you that is certainly shifting. I'll give you an example. There's a coffee shop right next to me where I picked up a coffee and I walked up to the coffee place and I said, I'd like an Americano. And I said it in my, obviously when you're here, I'm not talking the German English and I'm not, speaking some sort of accented English or speaking in another language. I'm speaking American English. Not even British English, I'm talking American English. And I say, hey, I want an Americano. And they looked at me and they're like, we don't serve Americanos here. And it was tongue in cheek. It wasn't meant as an insult. It was sort of a joke because America is a joke right now. For whatever you might think, it is. People have seen what's happening in America by our leadership, by the Trump administration, by these tariffs, and they think, one, we're woefully ignorant to the truth of the impact that this is having, and not only the impact on the economy, but the impact on the perception of America. But two, their lives are being impacted by it. America is going to be a solid investment for their business in the future. They agree, many of them, with the idea that trade needs to be balanced. Many of them I've had conversations with that think that fundamentally America can try to provide opportunities for manufacturing to come back to America, to provide some sort of balance between buyers and sellers across geopolitical lines. But I have never felt like it's been such a joke to be an American as I do now. The coffee shop, when I said I'd like an Americano, went back to me and said, well, we don't have Americanos. You're gonna have to pick another thing. Maybe a Mexicano or a Canadicano. And obviously we all had a chuckle. It was funny. Oh, okay, a Canadian Acano, like Americano. It's very similar to what America did with French fries when we were having a beef with the French and we renamed the French fries Freedom Fries. So let's not I'm not here to like put down Europeans in any way or say, oh no, you need to call them Americanos, how dare you? Because I actually agree. America has been turned into a joke. For anybody that thinks that America's stature in the world is increasing, that's not happening.
America will be respected again and admired again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
The way that we are administering our political policy is haphazard, is ineffectual, and is regarded as lunacy from the people here in Europe. And it's not just the people at the show, it's people I've bumped into everywhere. It is a constant feeling of when you say, hey, where are you from? And you say American, you almost have to follow it up with, I know, I'm sorry. In my case, I can say I didn't vote for the guy, because they all look at you and literally will say, why did you do that? Don't you realize how we all see your country? Don't you realize how foolish it is to do what you're doing? Or why did you hurt the relationship between our countries so much? There are people that make bikes here. They don't know how to do business with America. They don't know if tomorrow the trading situation is going to change. People are moving their primary distributorships away from America into Canada, maybe Mexico, maybe founding more opportunities to sell their products here in Europe, fostering more relationships with China, which is counter to the purpose of, the stated purpose of what Trump said, to try to bring manufacturing back to America and hurt China. In a lot of ways, people are turning to China because America is not trustworthy. It's not reliable, and it's like a reality show. So I ordered a Americano from my coffee shop friends down there, and they snicker and they laugh. And I laugh too. I'm not saying that I'm hurt by their impression of America. I can actually understand and appreciate it because I have the similar feeling. I feel deep inside that it's a little bit of shame. Actually, more than a little bit of shame. I think there's plenty of Americans out there that feel like, even if they agree with the policies, the way that they're done, the way that America has now created the methods for governing, has such a profound impact on the world, more today than ever before. I remember even the Bush administration, I remember the Obama administration, I remember the Clinton administration. They're governments. And there's weird governments here in Europe. As a matter of fact, I was talking to a German fella who was like, yeah, we have the potential to have leadership in the form of Trump 2.0. And he was very afraid of it. He's like, America is supposed to be a beacon of leadership. It's supposed to set the example for a lot of the world, or at least carry some sort of integrity that other governments can replicate, that can learn from. And in this case, it seems like they're learning from our bad habits. Think about that. Think about how bad that can be, and how that can have lasting impression on our relationships, on our leadership, on our future as Americans as we roam through. Right now, they're laughing. But as trade imbalances get even more imbalanced, as people lose out on being able to afford things or being able to do business with America, it hurts America too, but it also hurts people here. And when they are hurt by decisions that don't make sense, they're going to start converting that humor into anger and frustration and attitude. I don't believe it's too many far off steps before the Americano turns into, we're not going to serve you. We're not serving Americans anymore, It's not just the coffee shop. I have had many interactions. Obviously, it's a show. I'm talking to people from all over, visitors who are coming to the show, vendors who are displaying at the show. The vendors have a very serious outlook because a lot of them are producing vehicles that they're selling or would like to sell to the American market. And right now, everything's up in the air, and they don't know how to deal with it. Or they're going to deal with it by cutting America out of the product distributorship that they might have, or at least highly restrict it, because they can't rely on America, because tomorrow the tariffs might be up, they might be lower. People don't want to deal with somebody who's volatile. Business doesn't thrive on volatility. It's not even just business people and adults. Kids, I was talking to some high school kids. So cool.
You're from America?
It's a secret. America's crazy right now. So right now I'm Canadian.
Are you a Trump supporter?
No.
Thank God.
Yeah,
You can put that in the video.
Oh, that's going to be the front page. This is the next generation. The next generation here in Europe is understanding of the chaos that is inflicted on the world via the leadership of America. I just find it a very interesting insight into the nuance of how America is being interpreted around the world. I can talk about China very, very well because I know a lot of people in China, and the perception from China is confusion. They don't know how to do business with America right now. They're simply stopping. The idea that we're going to destroy China before China destroys us sort of thing is very, very counterproductive. They have a lot of opportunities to sell to domestic markets. Obviously, they're going to hurt, but they're going to start retooling. And Whether we try to reestablish relationships with China down the line, I believe that a lot of those bridges are going to be completely burned down and very, very hard to reestablish, if not impossible for some industries. And we might have some little fictitious wins. Like I just heard news that Apple was going to move their factories to India. That might sound good on paper, but you know who has been making reliable iPhones for the past decade and a half? It's been China. And to think that they can just willy-nilly switch over to Indian factory workers and make phones in India with the same quality right away, I don't think so. I'm not trying to insult Indian ingenuity or talent, but the experience lies in China right now. And so you're going to disrupt that line even with this move. It's going to have ripple effects. We can have conversations on whether that's necessary or not, but it will have ripple effects. In Europe here, the ripple effect is U.S. integrity is flushed down the toilet. We're regarded jokingly as the fools. I believe that's going to be the process for the foreseeable future. So anyways, just my 2 cents on the matter. It's really crazy. They were joking. They're like, we need to give you some Canadian patches to go over any American flags. You need to start, using isms that could make people think that I'm Canadian and not American. That's not cool, I'm not blaming them. I can understand where it's coming from, but it's one of the few times that I've ever been a little bit ashamed to be announced that I'm an American. We unfortunately are extensions of our government. So what they say should be what we abide by. It should be the words spoken by the president should be something that all Americans should be able to stick by and say, yeah, we're represented by this person, But now we're represented by somebody that I'm so fervently against. Even Bush and other people, I could kind of like, okay, well, But this is beyond the pale, and it has real world repercussions on the perception of Americans here in Europe. Let me know what you think. Do you think it doesn't matter? Do you think whatever, it doesn't matter what Europeans think, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks? And do you think that in the end, America is going to be more powerful, and whether we're respected or not, it doesn't matter because we have the power to do what we want? I don't know. I'd be willing to hear the counter to this argument, but I don't like it. But there's been a lot of laughter at the expense of my Americanism, and that is a very odd thing to experience. Take it easy, guys. Jayo. Bye-bye.